stop going to YouTube to figure out how to do your artistic, creative work. Now, the rest of the video is going to be why I think you should stop going to YouTube and searching, how do I do this? How do I do that? But before all that, welcome back to my channel. It's Sam. I'm really happy you're here. Thank you so much to my new subscribers. Really happy to have new subscribers. And so if you haven't subscribed, you can subscribe now. Give me a thumbs up. And let's not waste any time, because hopefully the headline, "Stop looking up how to do things on YouTube," caught your attention for a really good reason. And I'm going to talk about this in the context of this piece of my weaving. And I'm just happy, so happy to share this with you. This is a piece that I wove last year around this time in November. And just absolutely one of my most favorite pieces. If you can see, there is some fiber in there. There is some yarn in there, but predominantly what I wove with are grasses and flowers and bits and pieces of sticks and things that I gathered from outside in my yard. So when I made this thing, I was really moved to make this piece. And I had no idea. I don't normally weave with nature. I have no idea what was the right grasses to work with. And I know on YouTube there are lots and lots and lots of videos that I could have looked at that would tell me what kind of grasses to choose that would last the longest. They would tell me how to treat them beforehand, or the flowers, so that they would be preserved and last longer. This piece I didn't preserve with anything until the very end. When I was done weaving it, I got a spray preservative for flowers and I sprayed that on. Other than that, it has lasted a year looking like this. And it was made entirely by me using my intuition. So let's pause for a second. Now, if you're my age or older, you probably grew up not going to YouTube to look up how to do things because there wasn't YouTube. And you probably remember a time that if you wanted to learn how to weave with grasses, you had to probably go to the library to get a book, or you had to probably have your great Aunt Mildred who knew how to basket weave, for example. And so what would you do if you couldn't do those two things? You would just go pick some stuff from your yard and you would try it and see how it worked. Now, I love using YouTube to look up how to do things, and actually, I'm not really telling you never to. I think it's wonderful to look up how can I make, what do I do with this kind of fiber? How can I spin like this? And so on and so forth. But if we always do it and use it as a teacher, then there is a very important skill and muscle that we don't use at all. And it is such an essential skill and muscle for being an artist and a creative and a creator and an artist maker, that I'm not sure what we're going to do if we lose that muscle and that skill. And that muscle and that skill really is listening to our intuition and letting it guide us. So if I went and looked up how to make anything, for example, and I'm following somebody else's instruction, I'm really turning off a certain part of my brain. But if I have no idea how to do something, and so like I did with my piece, I'll literally just go outside and pick a bunch of stuff and come in and start to weave it. And I go, well, that one isn't working very well, but this one is. And oh, that looks really beautiful. Gosh, I hope it'll stay. And maybe this is going to be a living piece of weaving and it will change and transform, which is pretty cool too. And then I'm in a completely different process. And what's guiding and leading me isn't sort of following a set of instructions, but my natural intuition, my natural sense of artistry and creativity. And it actually builds up that muscle of how can I problem solve? How can I figure out? What can I do if I don't know how to do something? And so there, I think you can see that it's really important not to look up how to do something on YouTube, but to first give yourself a chance to figure it out, to see, can I intuitively come up with a solution? And that's so important for art, because art is made from our mistakes. And let me tell you what the heck I mean by art is made from our mistakes. Do you know anyone who's a scientist? Well, you know what scientists do is they might have a hypothesis and then they do a bunch of studies or experiments to figure out if they're right or they're wrong. And a scientist gets just as much information from being wrong as they do from being right. In other words, it tells them which direction to go. So when we're creating art, I'd probably say 50% of the art in the world has been created because somebody made a mistake and went, ooh, that looks really, really good. And you're not making mistakes if you're just going to YouTube and being like, well, how can I weave with grass? And then you follow the protocol of this person who has become the expert on it, knows how to treat the grasses, knows which grasses to use, knows how to make sure that they get preserved. So while I'm not going to stop going to YouTube when I have questions and thoughts, I'm not going to start by going to YouTube when I have questions and thoughts about how should I do something. I'm actually going to start by working with my intuition. And it's a muscle and a skill that is so powerful, actually. And I think that's the real thing I want to share and I want to say. It's so powerful because in the end, it allows you to create original material. It allows you to create from your true artistic vision. And we're not in our true artistic vision if we're just imitators, right, of something else in front of us. But more than that, we're not in our true artistic vision if we're not making mistakes. And if we're not learning as we go. And if we're not finding out, this one, it could have fallen apart after 3 months. I didn't know what was going to happen. In this case, it actually worked. And there was a lot of listening to see how that would be. Oh my gosh, I hope you can appreciate some of the deliciousness in those details and the colors. Again, so this is about a year old, still some berries on it. And this piece actually has a story, not even the story that I just told you, but another story to go with it that I'll share sometime. Anyhow, what are your thoughts? Empowered creativity looks like starting with yourself and figuring things out and making mistakes and allowing that to be part of how you find your vision and how you activate your creativity. And then once you've done it, if you want to go look up how to weave with grasses, how to treat grass before you weave, or whatever the thing is, whatever you're painting or making or sewing or creating, then you can do it. But first, start with yourself because you know more than you think you know, and you can tap into a greater and deeper artistic knowledge that's right down there in the root of your spirit. That's all I got. Thanks for stopping by my channel. Don't forget to come visit my weaving shop at thesamanthawild.com and check out what I have there. I'm open for commissions this month in a very special way. I'm open for commissions because this is the observance in October of pregnancy and infant loss. And so I'm open for commissions for memory pieces for those who have lost in pregnancy or lost infants. I can probably talk about that on another video, but thank you for being here. Thank you for giving me the thumbs up. Thank you for subscribing. So get out there and go find out about your artistic vision. Very exciting.